It's not a pretty ending.
What happens when the suspect tries flirting with the officer to avoid jail time?
If you want to refuse, just refuse.
It's gonna ruin my whole life.
A DUI does not mean that you're gonna be deported.
Hey, I know you.
If you don't look like her, you may not get away with it.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, tell me one.
All right, we've got a fun one today. It is people, in this case girls, flirting to try to get out of their criminal charges or get out of the arrest. I've seen this before. I have not seen it work, but let's dive into this one and see if it works for these ladies.
Starting with Jenna Maldonado, who was pulled over by an officer due to a suspicion of a possible DUI situation. Little did the officer know that this encounter was about to become one of the most hilarious moments of his career.
You're gonna put it in my mouth.
I'll put it in your mouth.
Oh, this is interesting.
It all began quite uneventfully as the officer checked Jenna's license and registration. He inquired about the reason behind her lane swerving without using signals. In response, Jenna remained remarkably composed and answered with brutal honesty. Maybe that was a side effect of the one beer she had drunk earlier.
Went over the line.
I will tell you I don't ever signal.
Okay, well.
So that is an honest thing, but
Okay.
I don't ever signal.
There's only in the car. How much did you drink today?
Earlier.
How much was there?
Like a beer earlier.
Just one beer?
About a beer.
About a beer?
About a beer.
So was it one beer or was it more than one beer?
About a beer.
Let's just pause right there and say that's an admission, and every DUI I've ever seen, a good officer is going to try to nail that down. And so maybe you're better off not speaking with the cops and making that admission in the first place.
Sorry. I literally feel like I have a...
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
And it's bothering me. Thank you.
It's out.
You're not married? Why not?
I was once before.
Yeah?
Yeah, no more.
What happened?
Life happens. Sometimes you just fly out of love. It just doesn't work out.
How old are you?
How do you think I am?
42?
Thank you. I'm almost 50.
All right, officer. Officer's not opposed to a couple compliments here. I mean, it looks like he's still doing his job.
Jenna and the officer remained within acceptable boundaries.
Yeah.
However, the situation took a significant turn when it was time to collect Jenna's breath sample.
Right now the machine says please blow until tone stops. Let me know if you want to give me 2 breath samples.
Where should I blow?
Well, if you want to, just tell. Okay, so right here's a brand new silk mouthpiece. No one's ever used it. Okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take a deep breath and blow like a balloon. Don't stop blowing until I tell you to.
You're gonna put it in my mouth.
I'll put it in your mouth.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay.
Like a balloon. Harder. Harder. Okay, there you go. Okay,
Well,
take
I
a deep
have
breath.
an idea in my mind and it seems weird, sorry.
Okay, don't let it be weird.
So what now?
Take a deep breath and blow hard like a balloon. Harder. 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 Keep going. Don't stop. Don't change your flow. Up, you change your flow.
She knows what to do. She's insinuating. We've seen things like this before.
You keep stopping. Come on. Come on, Jenna. You got this. Take a deep breath and blow.
Oh no, it's not that. It's funny. It's what you're saying.
You're almost twice the legal limit.
Got it. Got that breathalyzer. I mean, here, I get it. She's trying to insinuate and be cute about it. First of all, it's not getting her out of the DUI. At least sure shouldn't. It's all on camera, Jenna. Like, we all know what you're doing. It's not going to work. And keep in mind here, you think it's being cute and funny. In the officer's mind, he's solidifying the criminal charge against you. Right? And now she's twice the legal limit. So all around, better choice, not just to say, respectfully, officer, I'm not going to do that in the first place. Messing around with that, stop and start and change the flow, that goes down as a refusal, at least here in Illinois. You can try it. The officer will let you try it twice, maybe 3 times typically. But if you're f***ing around with it and you're not actually doing a consistent, steady stream of air, then they're going to be like, okay, fine, you've refused. And they mark it as a refusal. And in some states, that's an extra charge. In states like Illinois, that's a longer suspension of your driver's license. I don't think that's a great tactic. If you want to refuse, just refuse.
You're not wrong.
No, I'm not, because I heard you right.
Jenna's giggles and open expressions of attraction towards Officer LaFave make it evident that she is finding it difficult to control herself.
Tomorrow.
What's that?
Yeah, we may have one on a date tomorrow.
A date tomorrow? Well, you're gonna be in jail, girl.
I may have to go off if you would have just taken me home.
I'd have got fired.
No,
I can't be taking you home.
He's a little flustered. Nah, I can't take it home. That was her most direct statement yet to the officer.
And she had to spend a night in jail. Given the fact that Officer LaFave is widely recognized as a seasoned pro among police officers, any potential seduction techniques were unlikely to work on him. Which can't be said about this officer, who was left blushing in disbelief. Karina Armando was arrested for a DUI when driving home from a local Irish pub.
I'm familiar with this flirter.
I just haven't cleaned my car. Don't judge me.
Okay.
Even before the officer initiated a traffic stop, Karina pulled over voluntarily by herself.
Hi! The reason I'm stopping you, well, I didn't stop you. Why did you stop? Let me ask you that.
Karina immediately admitted she's been to a pub. The officer immediately proceeded to conduct a standardized field sobriety test. Seeing her struggle to step out of her car, it is arguable whether any sort of test is even necessary.
Can you say the alphabet from the letter E to the letter P for me without singing it? E through P.
Not a standardized field sobriety test.
The main purpose of the alphabet test is to assess the ability to divide your attention between a mental task and a physical task. In this case, Karina is so clearly under the influence, the officer doesn't require her to stand still. It's not a surprise. Karina failed this test. Upon arriving at the police station, Karina's behavior slightly changed. It's almost as if she enjoys the interaction with officers. She is less cocky and begins to be flirtatious.
Karina, we just got to take some pictures. There's this gray background on the wall over here. That's a camera. And we'll just tell you if we need you to adjust at all. So if you go ahead and look straight on at it for me until we get you to do the next one.
She's done this before.
Yes, that's it. Yep, so you come take a seat back over here.
Don't cuff me back. My boy.
All right, this hand or this hand? Okay.
One that's not struggling.
All right, I don't want to get it on your drawer.
As things go on, her playfulness intensifies.
Because her level of intoxication intensifies. I mean, it's got to be, right? Like that, it's crazy how you see sometimes people are way different between the start of the police interaction and the end. And then we've seen both. Someone appears to get way more intoxicated as time goes on. See that a lot. But I've also seen the opposite, right? People have sort of sobered up and now you're at the end, you're like, seems okay to me, right? You've seen both, and that's just because of the way that the body metabolizes alcohol, right? You don't just, it's not consistent. There's spikes depending on when you've last consumed alcohol, right? You may be on the decline or the incline.
Do you understand these rights which I've just read to you? Yes. Okay.
The officer then reads her rights and describes the process of taking a breath sample. He emphasizes that a refusal to provide a breath sample will lead to a charge on top of the DUI. Unfortunately for Karina, it seems to be the wrong time to ask her to make a logical decision. She refuses to provide a breath sample as she's clearly more focused on maintaining a deep eye contact with the officer.
Hold on, I hate that narrative. Like, oh, her deep eye contact must have worked, so they let her call her father. No, that's pretty standard procedure. Each jurisdiction is going to be different, right? Sometimes you've heard of like the drunk tank. Some jurisdictions have a policy where you got to stay 8 hours there to sober up. Here in Illinois, they don't have to do that. It's the officer's discretion, right? He's not going to probably let you drive home in your car. Well, he's definitely not going to let you drive home in your car. But if you get picked up by somebody else, sometimes they'll release you. You can call an Uber or a taxi. I've even seen officers process somebody and then drive them home. So each jurisdiction is going to be different. You saw in the last video, it's like, oh, you'll be in jail tomorrow. Probably not. Depending on when it happened, usually people are out in 6-8 hours. I know some jurisdictions do like a full 12 hours, which is probably overkill. But on a misdemeanor DUI, which most of them are, you get processed and released right there from the station. There can certainly be circumstances, a felony charge or something more serious where you're not getting released. You got to go in front of a judge to get a bond or the equivalent, however it's handled there in that state. But most of the time on a misdemeanor, they're going to release you right from the police station. It's just a matter of when.
Knowing she's going home tonight, Karina's mood only gets better.
Feel free to use the handrail.
America.
Just take it slower right here. I fall up these stairs.
My pronouns are you gotta say. All I gotta say is marvelous classy. Hey, I know you.
Yeah? Why is that?
Oh, that meant I was meaning it like
You meant it in an endearing way?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, hi.
Sometimes we don't get it in that kind of way, so.
It's always in that kind of
She just said, "Hey, motherfucker." I know you. Oh, I love it. Don't recommend that. If you don't look like her, you may not get away with it. I got no problem with you getting hammered here. Like, I did this when I was 20 and 21, and went to the Irish pub in town. But, it's the driving home part that's such a problem. Like, you should still be at the bar or in the back of an Uber or at your friend's house or in your parents' basement or somewhere. Or let the party go on. I don't care. Just don't drive the car. Be anywhere else and you're all good.
Karina was booked with driving while intoxicated, refusal of breath testing, reckless driving, careless driving, and failure to maintain lane. But the next suspect's flirting was a bit more aggressive than that. Naomi Fur, a Hooters waitress from Switzerland,
What is the red? Is that blood?
was still wearing her Halloween costume when cops
okay.
pulled her over. It is not uncommon that DUI drivers try to bribe the police officer to avoid consequences. But Naomi certainly took it a bit too far. It all started when the officer checked the license plate and found out that not only the plates expired almost a year ago, but also Naomi had a suspended driver's license.
I said your fake cut had scared me when I walked up. Did you know your license was suspended?
I apologize about that.
Naomi tries to play it cool and tells the officer that she's just on her way to pick up her friend. But her outfit and the fake blood immediately tells a completely different story.
I don't know about that. Isn't it Halloween? You can go drive and pick up your friend on Halloween in a costume. I don't think that warrants a further DUI investigation.
So where's the club wristband from?
Pardon?
Where's the club wristband
Oh,
from?
that was from the other night. That was from
Good
the
answer.
Friday, I think, or something.
Do me a favor, hop out real quick. Alright, we'll come right back over here so we don't get hit. Alright, so, listen, tonight's not my first night doing this.
Okay.
Where are y'all really coming from tonight? Because your eyes are bloodshot and glossy, your speech is slightly slurred.
I'm just very tired, that's all.
There's alcohol coming off the jaw.
Having a face-to-face conversation outside of your car after being pulled over and the officer's listing off his reasons, know that you're about to get arrested and go to jail. She should not make statements. She should not do these tests because I'm going to get arrested anyway, so I'm not going to give them more evidence. Instead, what every single person standing here thinks is, I'm going to talk my way out of this. I'm going to get out of it. If I play it cool, if I answer his questions, if I could just comply, like I'm going to get out of this and he's going to let me go home. The answer is no, you're not.
After a failed sobriety test,
she
there
does
was
it.
no other option. For some reason, she just couldn't wrap her head around it and tried to negotiate with the cops.
Still, to the same freaking point, she still cannot accept that she's about to get arrested.
You are going to jail for DUI.
Please, sir, please.
It's out of my hands.
I wish
Okay?
I'll pick myself up, please, sir. I don't want to go out of the U.S., please.
It's
Please, sir, it's going to ruin my whole life.
that does a DUI does not mean that you're going to up and be deported.
Yes, because I'm from Switzerland. I'm on a green card.
So she's not right there. Like, I get why she's concerned. We deal with this all the time. And I am absolutely sympathetic to it. I feel for her. She is charged with a DUI. She will shortly be charged with a DUI. Nothing she can do is going to get her out of that. You got to realize these officers are on, look, there's multiple officers. They've been putting your information in the computer. They've been radio dispatch, right? The sergeant knows what's going on, knows that he's got his 2 officers on a stop right now. They've got others standing by if needed. Like, it's a coordinated effort.
And this is the moment when desperate Naomi decides to make them a truly unusual offer.
Do you have a pair of shorts or something in here that we can put on to cover you up a little bit?
Jersey. I'll put that on her.
Please, sir, please. I'll take everything off. Please don't charge me, but I don't want to go to jail. Please, sir.
I don't want you to take everything off.
Please, sir, not tonight, please.
I'm gonna.
I promise I'll have somebody pick me up and drive me home. I promise.
I'm gonna show you a little bit of decency and cover you up a little bit.
You
don't want to go into jail looking like that.
Please, sir. Please.
Ma'am, there's nothing we can do. It is completely out of our hands, okay?
Yeah, but you can make a decision about arresting me. I promise I'll have somebody drive me home. I promise.
Decision's already been made.
You put yourself in this situation. We are just a consequence of your decisions tonight.
I really don't want to be in this situation.
Anyway, Naomi was placed in the backseat of a police vehicle while the officers searched her car, where they found a small whiskey bottle and a can of hard seltzer. Not so surprisingly, both were empty. Naomi was then transferred to the police station where she refused to provide a breath sample.
I also see a cousin to that flirting that we've seen in this video is violence. Also a bad idea. Both of those situations, it's like this root cause is failure to accept the situation you're in and acting appropriately to mitigate it. They try to mitigate it either with flirting or negotiating or these sort of crazy propositions or crying, overly dramatic, or fighting with cops or being angry and yelling at them. You got nothing better to do, right? Like, there's murderers out there. Why don't you get them instead, right? Like, you pig. Like, I see that happens. And all those things I put in the same category, all those reactions I put in the same category of, first of all, it's just being misguided, but really the root cause of failing to accept the situation you're in.
Following the trial, she was sentenced to 12 months probation, 50 hours of public service, and $500 fine. Unfortunately, just a few weeks before the trial, she received another citation for driving while her license was revoked. She will face the jury the 19th of September, 2023.
She won't face a jury on that. But yeah, that's another big thing that we see all the time too. In almost every state, when you get a DUI, your license gets suspended. You have to be really cognizant of that. Sometimes you can, get it unsuspended or whatever, but driving while your license is suspended for a DUI is a whole new criminal charge, a whole new arrest. Car impounded again. It makes your original DUI worse. Yeah, we see that all the time too. A good lawyer is hopefully, doesn't mean they're going to listen, but a good lawyer is going to walk you through that whole process, provide you alternatives, and hopefully then you can not drive, not commit more crimes on top of your DUI. There you have it. 3 young ladies trying to flirt their way out of a case. Karina in particular is awfully disturbing because we know that she's got a couple of these. Karina, please. Stop drinking and driving. We know how this ends. I handled thousands of DUI cases. It's not a pretty ending. So stop, please. And also, if you are ever in the situation of being handcuffed, you should know that it is not necessarily the end of the world. How you handle it from there on out can make all the difference in your case. So flirting, negotiating, being inappropriate, being violent towards the officer is often not the right answer once you're already in handcuffs. Thanks for watching.